Hey, this is Andrew Brown from the AWS Cloud Project Bootcamp, and we are going to do more diagramming because I said every time we get a component done or components, we are going to, in CloudFormation, we're going to go document it. So things didn't go exactly as planned, which is no surprise in this bootcamp. But the idea here is that we were working on the service, but we realized that we had to have and I'll just copy paste this. We had to have the database one done. So now we have one, which is our DB one here. And I'm sure we'll have one for just DynamoDB. So this will be our DynamoDB one, which will be the next thing we are going to probably move over. But we need to figure out what our exports are, things like that, and try to walk back and see what we were doing there. So for our CloudFormation, there was some changes we did. So for the networking one, let's take a look if we changed any of our outputs. I can't remember if we did. It'll probably be easier to go actually into CloudFormation and take a look here. So we'll make our way over here for a moment. And we're going to go into the networking one because I can't remember if we changed any outputs here. I don't think we did, but we'll just double check here. And I'm going to just point this out because some people are getting confused. We set up private subnets. We aren't using the private subnets. I wasn't sure if we were going to use it. And we also had a route table that, or we didn't create a route table for that. So just understand that we'll probably remove that at some point. There is a use case for having private tables, but the thing is that from a cost perspective and a complexity perspective, to do that security stuff is going to be really hard. So unless this was a security bootcamp, which there could be a variant of in the future, we're not going to touch those for now, okay? And we might also remove them. So I just want to double check to make sure that these are all the same still. And they look all the same to me, so I think that's fine. But where we were seeing changes was the cluster for sure. So we go into our cluster. We should have a new security group somewhere here, which is the which is for the service. Let's go ahead and define all these outputs here. So we'll go over here, and I'm just going to expand this. Okay, and when people do diagramming, they don't always diagram this part here. So this is actually something quite unique that we are doing. And I think it's important to do it because then you can clearly see what's going on, but most people don't diagram this stuff because they're not showing that. They're not building apps that are this complex. It's not that we're building something super complex, but I just mean that in video tutorials, people barely diagram, and then also they're not going to do this. So you're getting some real good stuff here is what I'm trying to say. So we have cluster name as 1, so we'll bring that over. I'm pretty sure we do use that one. We have service security group ID. So that is definitely something we're going to be using. I think that's what we called it. Or did we give it the full name? We gave it the full name. Kind of wish I just called it SG. And we'll have ALB security group ID. I'm pretty sure we were using all of these. There's probably nothing that we aren't using. Front end TG ARN, back end TG ARN. So front end TG ARN. And back end TG ARN. Now we're not using the those yet. And we might have to go back and change the way how some of this stuff works here because we have a service. But right now, this is for the back end because we have it hard-coded, and we will have to figure that out as we go here. But we have that, but we also have the database here. And I don't think we really have any outputs that actually matter for our database. So if we go over to here, and we go down to our template, I'm pretty sure, yeah, we don't even have anything for the outputs there. So really, it's that. Does the service have any outputs? It does not. So we might want to expose some things there at some point, but right now it seems like all of our outputs are actually being used. This is our cluster exports. Okay, and oh, doesn't drag with it. I was hoping that it would just take it with it. Sometimes it does that in this program here. Drag that over. And so we'll just go here. Whoops, we'll click off. I'm going to drag this here like this. And I'll just take this one off here. And so we have our backend service, and then we have our database. So this is RDS. Okay. And I'm just trying to think what is using what. So definitely both of these are using this one here. Come on. Sometimes it's mad at me. I don't know why. Just zoom in. And we'll go down here. Okay. The service security group ID, that's for the service. The thing that needs it is actually both again. So this is going to go to both again. Here. It's a bit hard to show this one. This is getting kind of messy. We'll drag this one up here. And we'll take this one off. We drag it like that. I think that's still kind of clear. And then we are using this one also for here because that's the one that it actually uses. So we'll go down as such here, like that. It's a little bit tricky to do this, as you can tell. And then we have our ALB. This is going to be used by the service again. And we'll just drag this down like that. And then for this right now, it's using the front end ARN or back end ARN because right now I'm not 100% sure. I'm going to make this white so we don't forget that's not being used right now, but I'm not 100% sure what we want to do, if we want to split this into two separate templates or we want to make it reusable. It'd be fun to make it reusable because then we can do some conditions and mappings and things like that, some kind of more advanced features of CloudFormation. I mean, they're not that advanced, but they're just more complex templates. But let's go here and see. Can I drag this up, please? Oh, come on. Let me drag up. Please let me drag up. I'm trying to click on this one point here. It is not taking it. So maybe I could just make this bigger. What a pain in the butt this is. It's staying on this move tool. Anyway, it's totally fine. We can make sense of it. I'm going to play around with it later when it wants to cooperate, but right now it's kind of being a bit of a pain. But you can kind of get an idea what is flowing where. Yeah, I know it's a little bit of a mess, but anyway, we kind of get the point there. But we have those two there. And the next thing we're going to need to do is our database. But let's go over here and actually expand some of the stuff. So we do have the ALB SG, so we'll grab that. That's definitely one that we can just copy over here. And we're going to paste it over here because we now have this over here. All right, and we are only running right now, called the service security group. I'll just say SG because it's kind of getting a little bit too long there. But in here we have our Fargate container. So we'll just type in container here. See if we can find it. Not very helpful. We'll just clear that out. We'll just scroll down and find it manually. So it is an orange thing. So we could probably find it over here. I usually know what the containers look like. None of these look like containers. Oh, down here. So we have our Elastic Container Service task. Elastic Container Service. Okay. So this would be the task definition, right? Task definition. And I don't like how I can't expand the text there, so I'm going to take it out, and we're going to go back up here into our text area like this. Okay, and bring that up like that. So we have our task definition. We do need the service. So going down here and looking at the icon, this one, I mean, this is clearly a container, but yeah, we have container registry. That's something we will have to do at some point. And that's not even part of any kind of repo, so we can put that in there. And this would be for, we have backend Flask. I'm going to say repo. It's the registry, but I'm just writing repo so we know what it is. And we can then go ahead and drag that out as such. And then this one is based off of another one. Hold on here. We'll go here. And so this one has like Python. I don't remember what version this is. Let's go take a look. It's Crutter Python. So that's Crutter Python, and it's using hyphens. What version of Python are we using? This is 3.10 Slim. Okay, so we'll go here, and this is going to be Crutter Python hyphen 3.10 Buster Slim. Is that what it is? Slim Buster. Whoever comes with these names, I do not know. Slim Buster. Okay, and so that one is referencing that one. So that is nice and clear. It's interesting like how this one went long, but this one wouldn't go long. Like explain that one to me. I must not know how to use, they won't even let me put it back in there, that text. But yeah, whatever I'm doing is not working how I expect it to. This one's also called backend Flask. And we'll just say task definition. Task def, I guess. We still know what that means. Okay, so we have those. Elastic Container Service. I mean, so that's the service. It's just confusing that we have this, but we also have a container. So, I mean, I guess that would be the name of the service. So here it would be backend Flask. And then, yeah, I guess we'd have the container separately. So we could go here, make that a bit smaller. This is the actual service. Okay. This would sit inside our Fargate cluster. So the way we could represent this, I'm just going to bring this down here. And we'll bring this down here. Again, we are trying to bring in every single component, so it can get a little bit confusing for that reason. But I'm going to just drag it down here, and so that way I can actually now include this backend service here, right? And then we can just drag this over here. If we want to make this a little bit easier to look at, what we could do, these things do not like to go where I want them to go. We'll bring that up here as such. I'll just cut that out and we'll bring over our text. And if we want to make this a bit easier to read, we can bring this down like this and then go to the left. Definition. I just didn't spell definition there because I can't spell it to save my life. So I'm just going to go task def. But, you know, it'd probably be good to spell the full name there. This is ECR repo. You bring this down in a new line. This one looks pretty darn big compared to that other one. Oh, I'll leave that alone. Attach this on the bottom. We'll bring this under here as such. And then we'll take this and put this attached. Oh, come on. We'll take this one on top here. Okay, and then we'll go to the top here and we will drag this in here. And we will go in the top left corner. Okay, and that's the service. Okay, and we can put it around parentheses, I suppose, like that. We could have also bolded it. I'm not sure what we were doing before. I mean, we should be kind of consistent, but I'll do the best I can here. We'll bring this over here for a second. This one's looking kind of big, so I'll bring that down a bit, and also then we can bring this in a bit easier. We could even probably bring the font down here. I'm going to leave that alone, though. But yeah, so we have this one, and so this is obviously related to this. Whoops. Well, this would actually probably point at, trying to get this object here, would probably point at that one like that. And so then we would have our containers. And this would be like backend Flask. This is just obviously a backend Flask task. I'm not sure how they exactly represent these in terms of the name down below. We'll take a look here. I'm going to make this a lot smaller. We'll bring this down to 6. I kind of want this to sit in this one. So, like now that we're designing this, it's kind of a bit easier if this bottom was the expanded one, but that's just how it goes. So we'll go here, and this is going to be here, right? So that's how it knows what task it is. There we go, as such. And this is, of course, a task running. I'll bring this down a little bit smaller here. Okay, so we're starting to get some visuals there. The only thing is that we don't show the ingress-outgress for this load balancer. That's something we definitely want to show because we learned the hard way how that caused issues when we did not have that information. I don't have enough room to put this in here, so this is kind of an issue. Maybe what we could do is we kind of link the data here. So if I go here like this, maybe I can drag this down here. Drag this one down a bit, bring this one down. Come on. Come on, you can do it. And maybe we can make that the same red line. I can't tell if that's the same red, but we will take these off here. And I want this to be kind of more informational, so I'm going to make it some kind of different kind of line like this. Okay, and so maybe, hopefully that explains what that data is. And so here, what we found out was this had to be 4, 5, 6, 7. I think that's what we had to open it up as, right? Because we made it port 80, and that did not work out well for us. So we'll go here, and I'm just going to go double check what we did in our actual architecture. And that's what I'm like. This is the things that we want to document, like in the physical layers. Anything that is important to configure in terms of ports and stuff, because it's very easy to forget what those are. And you saw how often I forgot what they were. So we'll go over here, and we'll go into the cluster. I'm going to go into backend Flask. Into tasks. Actually, I want to go to the service, right? To the cluster, click into the service. We're going to go up to the deployment and events for networking. We'll go into the security group, which is here. And so this is on port 4567, okay? So that's for the ALB health. We could even be putting the name in there, which might help. So like this rule would be ALB health. So we at least know what it's for. And so that's the one that we are setting that we needed. For our health checks, it was very important, I think, that we do this on port 4567. So that's something that we also need to make sure we set. If it's an important setting, we kind of want to show it here, 4567. Okay, and then this one, I mean, yes, there's the container health check, but the other part of it is the fact that this is what's doing that health check here. And actually, this is how they're linked, is through the service. So that's what we'll do here. Okay. So that represents that. Let's take a look at what else we need here. We generally will know because it'll be all the way at the top. like in our description here. So task definition, Fargate service, execution role, task role. So those are two other things we have. We'll go down here, and I'm going to go and look for that. So roles would be probably red because it's security. I am role. That's the role. There we go. So we have, what are the roles called here? CRUD execution role. And then we have CRUD service task role. It would probably be nice if we could kind of represent some of the information that's in here. These two things, so the service role, the task role, the service role, how are these attached? One is attached to the actual service, and one is attached to the task. So this one would be here. Well, they're attached to, well, let's just take a look here. Oh, they're used when we're in the cluster, but this is when they're actually using the service. Why are they not showing up here? Service. Oh, the reference in the task definition. So they point to those, but the interesting thing is that they're used for different stuff. So yeah, they're definitely associated with the task definition, but their actual utility is a bit different because I'm going to bring this up to the side here, so this is a little bit easier to look at. The way you know a diagram's good is like, does it have all the information you need to know what's going on? And I think that's what's most important. Well, we'll take these here. Okay, and we'll put them over here as well. And so they're definitely associated with this task definition. But the thing is that each of these are for different actions. I'm actually going to put them in the other way here. So this one here is used for the execution of the service. And this one here is used for the actual task itself. And I mean, it should be obvious based on their name, but like you noticed that I would get kind of mixed up between these. So I don't think it's that bad of an idea to point both of these out. Okay, but they are both linked to here. Okay, so they both are connected to the task definition. Okay, so we can go here and just take those off here and maybe just make some kind of indicator that these are associative. But yeah, that's what these are going to be used for. They are used for that here. We'll take this one off and then this one off here. Okay, so hopefully that is clear what's going on there. Let's take a look around here. Is there anything else that we are missing? Task role, execution role, Fargate service, task definition. So those are clear. Let's go take a look at our database. So our database, this is going to be sitting, well, there's a DB subnet group. I don't know if there's actually an icon for that. Let's go take a look here. What color would be databases? Oh, blue. Is there like one for DB subnet group? I don't even know. I wonder if I have PowerPoint open still. I don't have that thing open. So I'm not 100% sure if there's a database representation of that, but let's just take a look at what we have. We are going to need, We have RDS proxy, RDS multi-AZ, Elasticache. I mean, we're just using RDS. What I'm surprised is they don't have like an individual icon for it. Aurora. All right. So what we'll do is we'll go grab our, this is generic database. There should be one for Postgres. That's Amazon RDS. Huh. All right. Well, we'll grab this one here then. And so Amazon RDS, this is, what do we call this? We called this, go over to RDS here. We'll give it a moment. The great thing about like architecting is then you have to be sure of what you're doing, because, you know, I know we're working with this stuff, but then, like when you have to place it some here, then you have to say, okay, where actually is this thing? So this is CRUD instance. This is a Postgres RDS instance. And so this service here, they do go into subnets, but you're not going to see like the EC2 instances because they're managed. So I'm just trying to decide here. Oh, we still have this as well, the cloud map namespace here. This is something else that we'll have to represent. Maybe we should finish this off first because we do create ECS Connect here. So like, I'm just going to bring this over somewhere over here. But this service down below, maybe I can bring it on the other side. We have like a service connection here. So if we go over to Cloud Map, and we go into Cruder, we have backend Flask. So these are the services that are registered. I don't think these are Service Connect. These are just services underneath it, right? So I don't know if they have an icon to represent that. Let's go take a look and see what they have. So I'm looking for something that's going to be the connection between Cloud Map and that. App Mesh. Cloud Map resource. So that's Cloud Map namespace. You have a service. And this is resource. So the service here is definitely this over here. So we'll go over here because we don't really look at this stuff, but it's like good to visualize it if we can. So this is a service, and the service is called Backend Flask. Go back over here. Where did it go? Here we go. Cloud Map Service, Backend Flask. Well, I got that backwards. Whatever. Notice here, like we started bolding that, so our document is not 100% conventional, but whatever. We always have time to make this thing pretty later down the road. So this is what we need to, in order to connect to this. So this would go to here, I suppose. Let me see here. Backend Flask, namespace, description, service ID, discoverable, service instance. And this is linking to this. 10.0.0.65. So what I'm assuming is that that is the cloud map resource versus cloud map resource. Is that like the instance it's pointing to? I'm not sure if this is 100% correct, but I think what's going on here is that you have your cloud map resource for this, and I'm not 100% sure if this is pointing to here, but this definitely is pointing to the hard resource. So this would actually point to whatever this would be, right? So this could be something like, go in here, you know, it could be something like this. $10.0.0.65, but it'd definitely be port 4567 here. Okay, so that's definitely something that could happen here. It's not necessarily that this is in I think it's just a physical thing, but I think that this is what this does. Okay, so one points to the resource and the other one points to the what it's actually linked to. I think that's what it's doing. And if it's not, I don't have anyone here to tell me otherwise. And it's not like we have to be super perfect here, because I've seen lots of diagrams online that are just plain wrong or terrible, and nobody says anything. So that's what we're going to go with. I'm going to drag this down here. Yeah, now this has a jump line. I was just trying to make this look nicer, but I guess I'm not doing the best job here. And we will drag this over here, down as such. Okay. Maybe we'll just make this a little bit more consistent, bring this down and just say, 10 maybe? What is going on here? It's not really working normally, but that's fine. Okay, so I think that's the relationship there. Again, this would be nice if this was up a bit more, but whatever. So we have that. What else? Well, we were working on the database, right? So the database is here. And technically, like this is an RDS instance, right? And specifically, it has an RDS database in it. So we might want to bring in Postgres here. Postgres. PSQL. And so, I mean, there's ones for Azure, but I don't want to use Azure icons in here because we're doing AWS. So let's go look for Postgres SVG. Okay, and there it is. I'm going to go ahead and download that. I want the SVG. Full resolution. I'm hoping that's the SVG. There it is. We're going to go ahead and save it. I'm saving this to my desktop. This is the Postgres SVG. I'm just going to say Postgres. And then we're going to make our way back over here. And we're going to go down below to import data. I'm going to make my way over to shapes. Import shapes. Add to existing library. My save shapes. I guess this is new for this tab. Remember that we did Memento before? Yeah, Memento should be somewhere here. Anyway, it's kind of there. And we'll see if we can import this. Use selected shape. And did it import it? I don't see it. That's where this stuff kind of gets tricky. Their import's not very good. I'm looking for my shapes. Where's my shapes? It's not helping me too much here. Go back to this here. My libraries, my save shapes, and I want this in here. So what if I try to click? Notice I'm like clicking these and they don't do anything. Any of these going to import? How did I do this before? I'll be back in a second, okay? Yeah, I have no idea how to get this in here. It's very frustrating. One other thing that I could try out, I don't know if it would work, but maybe I could just try dragging in the SVG. And we'll drag this in here. Will that work? I guess that worked. So yeah, I guess don't use the import tool because the import tool is garbage. Just drag it in. I only know that because I saw a bootcamper do that. But yeah, it's great to see that dropped it in. The question is that an SVG or did it bring it in as an image? No, it looks like it's an SVG. So I guess that was the easiest way to accomplish that. But anyway, so the thing is that we do have this RDS instance, but it's also creating ourselves a database here. And that database has its own name. And so we will go here and just put a tag under here. So just say CRUDder database Postgres. Okay. Because the thing is, it does sit in our VPC. So it has to be in our CRUDder VPC here. We could drag this out a bit more so we have a little bit more room. And I'm just going to drag this out here. So this is kind of out of the way. And then we can just bring this over here as such. And this database is going to be sitting in, let's say, public. And we'll just bring this down here. Now, again, we aren't using these private subnets. I almost kind of want to just get rid of them so our life's a lot easier. I just didn't know if we were going to put that in here. So yeah, maybe that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to tear these out. I'm just getting tired of dealing with them. We don't seem to be using them, so let's just get them out of our diagram. And you spent all that time working with me setting those up, only to see them to get deleted. Okay, we'll move that out of the way. We'll take this one out, this line out, this line out. Look at that, so much more room to work with. And then I can drag this wider now. Hold on here. Drag this nice and big like that. And then I can go here like this. And the reason we need more room is because we're going to be bringing in the security group for it as well. So we need to make sure we have room for that. I also want to just shrink this a bit too. Okay. I mean, it should be obvious that it is the Postgres database, but in case you don't know what the icon is, that's why I wrote it under there. And so this has its own instance here. As such. Bring that up a bit more here. Because it does create a database. Now, we have a security group for this. So we'll drag this over here as such. And then we'll grab this security group. And we'll put it around here. Right now, it's only utilizing the single subnet. And I really don't like where it says security group in the middle like that. So I'm having a hard time selecting the right thing. Bring this over for a second. I'm going to just take the text out like that. That's just kind of annoying, that text. And I want to drag this back over here. And so instead of having that red text like that, I'm just going to go here. This will be our security group called, it'll be like CRUDder. This down to 6, I guess. Bring this up. We'll turn this to be red. Okay. We could probably do the same for this one as well. This one's kind of annoying me. We'll go here. Bring this up. Okay. So that's what that is. We need to talk about the rules here. So we did drag out this pretty darn far. We didn't have to go that far out. So I'll bring this in closer. And we'll go here and bring this in closer. Okay. And so that's for this security group. We could probably do something for the similar to the other one. We don't have to have that line in there. So we'll go here and drag a line out like that. Bring this down a bit here so it's out of the way. And so then we'll have something similar here. Okay, and then here, take those lines off. We'll make this dotted. We'll put red on this one. Okay, and the ingress here is 5432. And this will be for the Service SG. You know, I think this has a name, but I guess this back end. Okay, and so this thing is linked to another one. So if we wanted to make this really clear, I'm not sure if we can sit here, but I'm going to go here. And then I want this to be on this line here. We'll drag this down to here and drag this up like that. Put that on like that. Sure know how to make this hard for us, eh? Well, hopefully we know what that's pointing at. I'm gonna just drag this one out a bit farther here. And I don't know, maybe I'll put this as a different kind of shape. Nice if it wasn't so big. But anyway, the idea is that that's pointing to that service, that one. The Service SG is actually, this would be not that, it'd be whatever the ALB health check is, so ALB service group. What did we call this one? Yeah, ALB security group, so that's the ALB security group. So I can go here, and we can just place it on like that. We bring this down like this, and take off the end here, but at least we know where that is going. Whoops. Other way, thank you. Okay. Now there are those security groups. I don't know if we really need to represent that. Because it already is in the correct location, but in the database there is the that security group, DB subnet group, and I don't think they have an icon for that to really represent it, so I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to show that. There are values that are coming in from parameter store here that are kind of important. Like that's how, well, this is set manually. The username and password is set manually, and it'd be nice to kind of represent that because when you're working with this, it could be from different places. It's like it could be from security, secrets and stuff like that. So we might want to represent that. We also might want to say what version of Postgres this is using. So I don't know. We can always come back and add these later if I feel that they're not sufficiently there. But I think this is good enough. So we are good here, and we can move on to DynamoDB if that sounds fun for you. So I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.